Hey everybody, Howard Jacobson here with Sick to Fit. Plant Yourself Well, Start Health, and I want to talk to you today about bundling. What is bundling? Bundling is one of the latest, hottest behavior modification techniques from behavioral scientists, and it comes based on some really interesting work on present bias or future discounting, which are two concepts that are actually the same thing, that basically say whatever is happening right now feels way more important than what will happen in the future. And bundling, well, bundling is the idea that if you take a behavior that you want to do but you won't enjoy right now, like going for a run or eating a salad, that you can bundle that behavior with a reward and give yourself a reward either while you're doing it or right afterwards. And that will make you more likely to do the thing. So today I want to talk about bundling, about why I think it's a terrible idea most of the time and under which conditions it might be useful. So I want to show you something. Here's where the bundling idea comes from. And this comes from, it's a chart that I grabbed from a book called The Power of 50 Bits by Bob Neese, which is a very good layperson's introduction to behavioral economics. And let me see if I can figure out how to show you my screen. How do I do that? Source, share screen. Oh boy, it needs permission to share the screen. Goodness me. It can't be installed during a live broadcast. Well, in that case, I will describe it to you. Am I sharing my screen? Let me stop sharing my screen because that's making me cold. Source, camera. There we go. So here's the mathematics of procrastination from The Power of 50 Bits. The basic idea is that anything that happens now gets a full measure. So let's say I want to start exercising. I want to start going to the gym in the morning, and that's my New Year's resolution. So let's do the math. So let's say I think that going to the gym, working out, getting fit will give me 10 arbitrary units of benefit, 10 happy points. And the effort that it will take to get up in the morning and go to the gym, let's call that 6 units of effort or pain or discomfort or whatever, but 6 negatives, so on the other side. And, we don't spend time thinking about this, but we kind of make all our decisions based on some sort of heuristic like this. Like basically everything we do is like, well, will the benefit outweigh the pain? Is the reward worth the effort? And the problem with health behaviors is that the answer is almost always yes, but the reward is in the future and the behavior is in the present. So let's say we've made our New Year's resolution. It's December 31st, and we're saying, well, tomorrow morning, January 1st, I'm going to get up and go to the gym. So we've got 10 units of benefit and 6 units of effort. But because they're both in the future, we apply a 50% discount rate because they're not right now. They're both, tomorrow morning is the workout, and some point in the future, 2 weeks, 2 months, who knows, we get our 10 points of benefit. So 10 times 50% or divided by 2 is 5. 6 units of effort, -6 times 50% is -3. So do we make our New Year's resolution? 5 plus -3 is +2. So that's a plus. So we make our New Year's resolution. Excellent. So that's a really good thing. We have 2 units of benefit. And so overall, it's a good thing to do. Now, what happens January 1st, 6 a.m., when we wake up and we go, okay, now I have to go to the gym. So let's do the math. 10 units of benefit, still in the future. So 10 times 50% is 5. What about the effort? The effort, again, 6 units of effort, but it's now. So it doesn't get discounted. So it's just -6. So we've got 5 plus -6 is -1. So today we've got a -1. So we're just not going to exercise today. When will we start? Tomorrow. Because what's the number for tomorrow? Tomorrow, everything's in the future. So it's 5 plus -3 is +2. So the mathematics of procrastination is that we're always going to start tomorrow or next week or next month or when we have more time or when we retire. Because the benefit has to be so astronomical in the future to get us to do anything unpleasant right now, it almost doesn't work. So bundling is a solution to this. And the bundlers say, what if we add pleasure to the now? Then let me give you an example. Suppose you want to start working out and you happen to have a stationary bicycle or a treadmill in your basement, and you never find yourself going down there. So bundling would suggest do something nice for yourself while you work out. So when you're working out on your bicycle or your treadmill, that's when you get to catch up on Game of Thrones or rewatch the entire series of The Sopranos. All right. So, and you don't do that any other time. So it's a reward that you're giving yourself just for doing the hard thing. So now we've got our +5, -6, but we've added, well, let's say we've added 3 with our Netflix or our HBO series. So now we're in the positive. So now we'll go do it. I will exercise so that I can watch Game of Thrones. Another common form of bundling is like, you can't always bundle. Like if I want to go to a yoga class, I'm not going to say to the teacher, excuse me, can I set up my Roku, my Netflix, my Apple TV right here? I won't bother anyone. I'll have headphones in. I'll just listen to that and watch that while we do it. No, you can't always bundle in the moment. So another form of bundling is to reward yourself afterwards. After I do my yoga, I'm going to stop at the coffee shop and get myself a large macchiato and sit and relax, or I'll meet with my friends after the yoga class and we're going to chat about stuff. And again, the idea is to raise the positives so that they outweigh the negatives, to raise the benefit above the effort or the pain or the discomfort, etc. Now, what's the problem with bundling? Because there's some good evidence that in the short term it works pretty well. The biggest problem, I would say, is that bundling can and often does dampen intrinsic motivation, which is to say, what we want is, I want to do the thing because I want to do the thing, right? That's where all of our habits live. They live in, I am intrinsically motivated to do it. Whether it's flossing my teeth after I brush. If I brush and I don't floss, I feel yucky. Oh, I gotta, right? So most of our habits are actually efforts to reduce existential pain, right? So if I go dun da 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 dum, you want to fill that in. That is a present habit, da da, that's going to make us feel good. So what we want is for all of our health behaviors to become self-driven habits. And for a lot of runners, running becomes something that they miss. It goes from being a pain, it goes from being uncomfortable, it goes from being inconvenient to something that gets craved. So we don't want to interfere with that process. But if we create a bundle, and so we're going to say, our brain is saying, oh, I'm going to do this thing that I don't like so I get the reward. What it hears is, this is a thing I don't like. So Alfie Kohn writes about this a lot in his books. One of them is called Punished by Rewards, about the blowback effect, the unintended consequences of rewarding, in this case, students for good performance. And we also can see this when parents try to bribe their kids. Finish your broccoli and I'll give you a cookie. Well, what do the kids learn? They learn that broccoli is something undesirable, that I need to be bribed with a cookie in order to eat. So bundling can very easily dampen and sabotage internal motivation, because we're no longer focused on the pleasure of the act itself. We're focused on the pleasure of whatever we bundled with it, and we're actually telling ourselves, reinforcing the idea through this economic exchange, that what we're doing is not fun, not enjoyable, and so we've got to, buck up and just make it through so that we get our reward. Or we watch Game of Thrones and we're on the treadmill and we're basically saying, look, body, you go do the treadmill, but mind, the real me, is going to enjoy myself. And that kind of disconnect will never lead to an enjoyment of walking or running or cycling. And it can very often lead to injury because we're just not paying attention. There's another problem that can come up, which is it can actually sabotage our results. So the example of stopping off at a coffee shop for a macchiato, I don't even know what that is, honestly. I've heard the word. It sounds rich and decadent. Stopping off for a macchiato after yoga, we could probably fill ourselves with 9 times as many calories, especially if we get a little extra treat with that, a brownie or a Danish or a donut or a muffin, right? So we can actually, the bundled reward can actually take us in the wrong direction. We're worse off with the effort and the reward than would have been if we had just not done either. And a funny example of this, I think, is there's a website, really, really clever and stupid, and I love the concept. It's called Written Kitten. Written Kitten. And it's at writtenkitten.co. And all it is a big text box. And it's for writers who are procrastinating, who have writer's block. And you can set the conditions. And there's 2 different conditions that you can set. One is the animal, the baby animal, and the other is the number of words. So the default is, I will show you a picture of a kitten, a new picture of a kitten, for every 500 words. And you can change kitten to puppy or bunny, and you can change 500 to 100, 200, or 1,000 or 2,000. So basically you're rewarding yourself with a cute internet picture of a puppy or a bunny or a kitten every time you complete your allotment of words. And I was just imagining, what if Stephen King had used this to write It? And he writes his first 100 words, and now we're getting really tense. And all of a sudden, this pretty little kitten comes up, and the next 50 words that he writes are all about the kitten and how much he loves small furry animals. And by the time he gets back into horror mode, he's shown another picture of a kitten, and he ends up, instead of writing It, he ends up writing all things bright and beautiful. He sabotages what he's trying to do with the tool he's using to get himself to do it. Now, that's kind of stupid. I'm pretty sure Stephen King does not need Written Kitten, but it's an amusing concept, right? Every time I write my 100 words, I get totally zoned into acute overload. The third reason bundling is a bad idea generally is that we want to bundle in a very predictable way. And like, we don't want to say, okay, well, I just did my workout. Oh, no, today you don't get it. Right? When we bundle predictably, but our brains respond not to predictable rewards, but to variable, unpredictable rewards. That's why casinos are so enticing, because our brains are wired to anticipate jackpots. So unless you have someone who's going to bundle you in jackpot mode, and maybe you have an app on your phone and you push the button and it gives you a random, like, what's your bundle for today? Most of the time it's nothing. Occasionally it's something really great, and most of the time it's something sort of in the middle. right? Maybe that would work, but that's not generally how we bundle. We bundle in a very predictable fashion. So, under what conditions might bundling actually be a good idea? So the first one is if it's the only way to get you to start. If you're absolutely not going to get on the treadmill or the stationary bike, you're not going to go to the class unless you bundle it at the very beginning, then bundling is better than nothing. Who knows? It might lead you to, to develop the habit to begin to like it. So the caveat there is, so use it to start, and as soon as you get any kind of momentum, experiment with cutting off the bundling or reducing it or making it variable. The second way bundling can work is if instead of you creating an artificial kitten picture reward, that you allow a natural consequence to be a reward. And this is the thing that we recommend all the time in Sick to Fit, in Big Change, in Well Start Health, is to get your dopamine from your pride at doing something that's hard, at doing something you don't want to do. So it's almost like looking at yourself, going for a walk up a hill, feeling out of breath, feeling tired, feeling like this sucks, and at the same time holding the observer over you to say, look how much this sucks and look at me doing it anyway. What a badass I am. I am so committed. I am so proud of myself. And so that's a great mental jujitsu. The worse it sucks, the happier you are. Dan Ariely of Duke University refers to this as benign masochism. And we can use this. It is the most powerful form of bundling because it's a natural consequence and it uses the energy of the unpleasantness against itself. Other natural consequences might be, okay, I just feel pretty good after going for this walk. Let me take 5 minutes before I rush to shower and do my next thing to simply appreciate how good I feel right now. Oh yeah, this is pretty nice. I'm happy about this. All right. A third way to use bundling is, figure out what I meant by this. I wrote down contingency and sustainable. What the hell was I talking about? What did I mean? Contingency. Well, this is embarrassing. I have no idea. Maybe if I'm not going to make something up just to have 3 things. But all right. So let's talk about sustainable, which I do know what I meant. If the bundling is something that you can do sustainably, so stopping off for a coffee, when you go to the gym, might be, hey, Quantum. When you go to the gym, and every time you go to the gym, you're going to stop off for a coffee. Well, maybe some mornings you don't have time for that. And so you're going to think, oh, I don't have time for coffee, so I might as well not go to the gym. Right? That's how our minds work, is it not? So if the reward, the bundled reward, is completely sustainable, it's something you can give yourself every single time. So BJ Fogg of Tiny Habits talks about like saying something to yourself, like giving yourself a little high five, right? Like, woohoo! Like, look what I just did. I just dropped and did 2 push-ups this morning. Awesome! I like when I was doing Tiny Habits, I like to use the voice. I can't remember the name of the song. I think the song was called "Oh Yeah" from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Oh yeah! I was never bass or baritone enough to really pull it off, but in my heart, I am. So if there's something that you can do every single time, and so you don't have to worry about it falling away and demotivating you from getting started, that also might be a reason to do some bundling. But to recap, basically we want to avoid anything that decreases our intrinsic motivation and anything that sabotages the direction we're trying to go. So the best thing to bundle is your pride at doing something hard, at embracing vitamin D, productive discomfort. in the journey of making yourself happier and healthier, more sustainable and more joyful. All right, I hope this is helpful. If it is, and you'd like to work with me one-on-one, plantyourself.com/laser, LASER. For the new year, I'm looking for 3 new coaching clients. It's for an entire year, and it's a lot less than you think. Plantyourself.com/laser. And I'm just about to go into promotion mode after recovering from the last retreat to the Sick to Fit retreat that Josh Lajani and I are holding in NOLA, New Orleans, Louisiana, New Orleans, as you're supposed to say. City of jazz, birthplace of jazz, Crescent City, most amazing, beautiful architecture, oak-lined promenades, and of course, the most decadent, unhealthy food in America, possibly in the world. And we're going to show you how to do NOLA healthy and happy and fun. We're going to create community. Check it out, Sick2Fit, number 2, sick2fit.com/NOLA, NOLA, all lowercase. Thanks for watching. See you again later.